All right. Good evening. Welcome to the world of Hearthron. I'm your host, storyteller, and dungeon master, Bilbo. Tonight, I'm going to show you my all-time favorite adventure, The Keep of the Borderlands, which has now been reincarnated by Goodman Games for 5th edition. Goodman Games partnered with Wizards of the Coast to put out into the Borderlands. We have B1, In Search of the Unknown, and B2, The Keep of the Borderlands. First off, this is a huge book. There are, let me just show you the size. It's huge. So there are 384 pages with plenty of cool artwork along the book. The tome is a homage to the origins of the adventures that began decades ago with B1, In Search of the Unknown by Mike Carr, and B2, The Keep of the Borderlands by Gary Gygax himself. You will find high quality scans from multiple printings of the original first edition adventures modules in the book, plus full 5th edition conversions of both adventures are included, as well as brand new additional adventure locations to further expand the development of the Borderlands. The preface is from Luke Gygax, and he talks about his first experience with Keep of the Borderlands and really like how his dad didn't help him out, and when he DM'd it himself. And the foreword is by Mike Merles, as he discusses both The Search of the Unknown and The Keep of the Borderlands. There are several other essays that discuss their experiences with the adventure as well in Chapter 1. For me, The Keep of the Borderlands came out in 1980. I was 13 years old. I was 3 years into being a dungeon master, almost every day of the week. Keep of the Borderlands was considered, or is considered now, I would say, is considered the first sandbox adventure published. Because I love The Keep of the Borderlands, as I would reskin it over and over for the next 10 to 15 years as an intro into new campaigns, and none of my players were the wiser. I would just DM sections of the adventure and create leads into new campaigns with using the section as a starting point. I would love to know your first experience with The Keep of the Borderlands. So go ahead, post something below, either as a player, as a DM, how you enjoyed going through Keep of the Borderlands or in Search of the Unknown. And I'll love going down memory lane with you. So let me kind of just go through the book, review it a little bit here with you, and kind of give you some of my thoughts. I'm not going to give anything away, no spoilers or anything like that. So if players are watching this, you're not going to really get any big aha moments or, oh, this is here or that. Well, maybe one spoiler. So first, we have Chapter 2. And so I'm going to just open this, so excuse my meat pauses, they might get in the way here. So first here is Chapter 2, In Search of the Unknown. So the first chapter, or the second chapter I should say, the second chapter here of the book, it explores the old, so there's a couple old versions, the original version, and then a couple other prints as well. And in here, it actually even there's some notes and stuff that will, kind of explain like some of the artwork, some of the different things that might be included or missing from different print to print. So there is the original cover there, and then there's one of the dungeon levels there, the first one, the upper level. I just had to show this picture. Actually, there's a floor trap in there, players, just beware. So I just remember this floor trap as I DM'd this adventure once or twice, I should say, a couple of times throughout my younger career as a dungeon master. Then I just want to make sure I'm not skipping over. So the one thing too is about so chapter 3 is the stock examples of B1 dungeon. So in here you could actually part of it, your responsibility as a dungeon master was kind of to put creatures in there. In fact, what you could do is you could just change the creatures in the adventure. And so you could actually change the creatures, the treasure, from room to room at certain points of this adventure. So it was kind of cool in that sense too, as if you wanted to, you could run this with your players, turn around, and rerun it with new creatures, and they wouldn't know the difference unless they're mapping things out and kind of start recognizing that. And so I had completely forgot about that, but I do remember once I saw this in the book, I was like, what's this? And I'm like, oh, that's right. You can actually do your own monster setup. Then here we have the next chapter. So this is chapter 4, and this is the keep of the Borderlands here. And so here is the cover, the original cover, as well as here is the Caves of Chaos. And on the second page, to show you the inside artwork, kind of your first look, the original owl bear there. So that's your first look at it. I just can't pose it right here in a book. Maybe I'll just lift up the camera a little bit here. Don't want to knock over my camera. So there it is, the first owl bear that you have to deal with. So this, once again, is the original print, or the first print, and then there's, I believe, another print in this as well. So if you really want to go first edition, you can. Here is also the first edition, detailed maps here. You have the keep over here, you have the Caves of Chaos, as well as a where the placements of a few side adventures that you had with the caves. I'm just keeping my notes here actively so I don't ramble too much, because I do love to ramble. And so there's the maps. Here's the keep as well. That's one of the cool things too, is to be a base of operations for your players. And they can go back and forth. It's not too far from the cave to the keep. The keep is well fortified, so you can easily come up with good storylines of, wow, why isn't the humanoids in the caves overrun the keep? Well, the keep's really well fortified. And it's only about 1.5 miles, I think, maybe 2 miles from here to there. You can make the treacherous, the grounds, because it's going up hills and through woods, so you can spend a little bit more time, in the sense of getting there. But everything's close by, so characters can get back to safety pretty quickly. Next here, the Sturge. So once again, I don't want to mess up my camera, but maybe I'll just move the camera myself. So there we go. So there we go. It's the first Sturge. This I remember this as the first encounter of Sturges in my D&D game, and them just biting into characters, into their necks, into their arms, whatever flesh is exposed. And being here in Minnesota, well, we take kindly to the Sturgis because they remind us of our mosquitoes here. Next up here, just want to make sure, use my man paws. The next chapter here, so chapter 5, this here is advice for dungeon masters, new dungeon masters, really. Tips for new dungeon masters on the Borderlands. So kind of how you can run it. And there's everything in here, sense for planning encounters. There's travel, all that kind of stuff is right in this chapter here. So it's pretty cool. It kind of, that was one of the things back in the day of the difference, I think, between the original first edition and well, really the box. That's where I started with, and then moved to first edition from the box. The white box here, I have it up here somewhere. But the original game that I played with Blackmore and Greyhawk and Chainmail and the Eldritch Wizardry, all those books, that's where I started from. And the thing is about the first edition, Keep of the Borderlands, and even in the basic, I never played the basic or expert sets. I went right from leaving the box right to first edition, or really advanced Dungeons and Dragons. I don't even know how it's all tracked, to be honest. I played them all. Anyways, the one thing is about these adventures compared to now is these adventures really kind of explain to you a little bit on how to be a dungeon master at the beginning. And then you had to kind of figure a lot of stuff out on your own. And that's in the sense that this is a sandbox. The first print, like with the Keep, there's no names of NPCs. They just would call them the scribe or the smithy and the cleric and stuff like that. So for names, you kind of had to just come up with them on your own. If your players asked you their names, you'd have to say, okay, well, this is the name. With Goodman Games, they actually did some of that work with a lot of the NPCs in the Keep, where they actually came up and put names of some of the NPCs that characters could be dealing with here. So, Chapter 6, here is In Search of the Unknown. So this is the 5th edition write-up of the book here, and it's very well detailed from what I've looked at, and really kind of walks you through the adventure here. Once again, pause. So I had place marked, just so I make sure that I kind of go through the book here. So chapter 7, there's additional encounters of the caverns here of Quaskutan. I think that's how you say it. Quaskutan. I think that's from what I remember. So this here is some additional encounters for this, so you can add on some additional encounters to the adventure that Goodman Games put in here. Next up here, I believe, yeah. So here is this here next chapter is chapter 8. This is with Keen, the dungeon of Quaskutan. And so this is just in a sense, Goodman Games does a great job. They actually build your creatures into the book, into the adventure, so you don't have to do that work. However, if you want to do that work and key in your own encounters, like I said, you could actually put what you want in there. There's tables and charts that go through that. Tables of the monsters, I believe probably next is some of the treasure here. So different the kobolds, animated objects, molds and stuff like that. Treasure, all that. So if you really want to do that yourself, you can actually key it yourself. And for maybe the more experienced dungeon master who wants to change things up, they can go ahead and do that. Chapter 9 is the Keep of the Borderlands. As I said, this is one of my favorite adventures. This and White Plume Mountain, I would say, are my top 2 favorite dungeons way back when, 1980. And without a doubt, they still have a huge, they're close to my heart in the sense that I just enjoyed dungeon mastering both of those adventures. So, the Keep of the Borderlands characters here can use the keep as base of operations and explore the caves of chaos. As I said, kind of you can get a picture right away of the keep. Yeah, so you have here the keep. It's really detailed here on this chapter 9 of the keep. So it really goes into the shops, who's running what. And as I said, the Goodman games did a great job of putting NPC names in here. There are still places you probably still want to have like a list of NPC names on hand, especially if they're talking to a city guard and there's no name for it. You can just have a name for that city guard. So you have that at your disposal. The other thing is I really liked here is the fountain here. This is the fountain square, and really kind of will give you a chance just looking at that picture as a dungeon master to kind of take the characters into that setting, explain hearing the water falling off the fountain, smelling the fruits or meats from the stands surrounding the market, as well as the hustle and bustle. So really get your characters into that setting of being part of this keep. It's just not a base of operations. It's a living, breathing adventure itself for your characters to do a lot of role playing in. So I just wanted to point that out there. Next, I believe, sure. Yeah, there's the caves itself, breakdown. The next chapter here, chapter 12, I believe, or did I skip that? Chapter 10. Okay, yep, so chapter 10, I did skip. Sorry. I really skipped. Whatever my markers here. Sorry. I really pushed that out. Okay. Chapter 7, sorry. I went right from chapter 9 to 12. So let me see here. Chapter 11. So chapter 10 is going to be, yeah, here we go. Chapter 10. Sorry about that. So I don't know what I did to the markers. All right. So chapter 10 is the adventures outside the keep. So here you have the originals, the Mound of the Lizard Man, the Bandit, Raider Camp, the Lair of the Mad Hermit. Each of these, you can start off as campaign hooks as well. That's what I actually did way back when I was running these. Some of these are just start the adventure, right from the keep, but then it was the Mound of the Lizard Man and started with a small, adventure from the Lizard Man, and that grew into, okay, we need to chase down. We're going deeper into the swamps. You're going after some other lizard men. You could just build off of that, or the bandit raiders. The raiders there, maybe they capture somebody, kidnap somebody. The party goes in there to rescue or pay off a ransom. They learn something, even a bigger story behind that, and you can go from there. The Mad Hermit, I would actually give them the players or the characters some quests to go on. They go meet this Mad Hermit there in the woods and go from there. So they've added some more adventures in here. They've listed them all out here on this map over here. You still have the Caves of Chaos. You also have the Cave of the Unknown. So there's some stuff. like I said, I won't spoil this. I'd rather have Dungeon Master storytellers explore this for themselves. And if there's players watching, they don't really want to be spoiled on knowing that something's out there they can find it themselves. So that is really cool. Then chapter 11. Here we go. Chapter 11, the Caves of Chaos. So here, in the Caves of Chaos, you have multiple humanoid fractions with kobolds, goblins, orcs, hobgoblins, bugbears, and gnolls, have all taken residence up in these caves. Here, as a storyteller, there's a great opportunity to explain how these humanoids coexist or fight against one another. And you know, you can have some of the warring fractions, and the book does explain some of that. But you can really, as a storyteller, just take it to another level if you so choose, and build off of that. It could very well be. I've had a party where they helped the kobolds go after the goblins. You know, the kobolds and goblins were warring with each other. The kobolds promised to give the party some sort of treasure, something, or possibly, you know, a link to another adventure, possibly somewhere else. But so then the party was working for the kobolds, going to eliminate the goblins. And literally, I would run just sections of this with the party. I'm pretty sure the map's going to be on the next page. Yeah. So I would just take a section and just run one section of an adventure as an intro to a brand new campaign. And then I'd come back with maybe, you know, once that campaign was over, you start up another one, I'd just go to another section here in the cave, and that's where I would start the next adventure, and so on and so on. So, I mean, I could run literally, I don't know how many campaigns I started here, but probably a dozen, maybe even more, just from the different, the caves here, as well as the encounters outside the keep. And I actually, one time, ran where some orcs had taken over the keep itself and had the party go in and take care of those orcs. So you can even do something crazy like that. The next here is chapter 12. This is additional encounters in the Borderlands. And so, you know, once again, Goodman Games is giving you some more ideas, some more inspiration on what to use in this area. Like I said, it's an open sandbox. I mean, you can just do as much as you want with this book, and you can just run low level campaign after another, or start of a campaign. Get these characters up from first to third, let them get to know each other, their abilities and so on, their strengths, their weaknesses, and how the party can gel, and not be too worried if a character dies. You know, it's pretty easy to bring back, you know, get another character at a low level into the group, versus when you're higher level and you die, then as a player and as a dungeon master as well, you feel bad for that player that's put all that work into that character. Next, we have our appendices. So we have Appendix A, it's new magic items and spells. You have Appendix B, which is new monsters, which really some of them, the bunny here, the blinking bunny, you gotta have that as a roaming monster sometime in there. You have Appendix C, which is you have your characters that if you want to use here, so players, you can just grab a character, they're very basic, but it's there, you could use them. Hirelings and followers, NPCs, they're all in here. And then D here is a cover and a map gallery. So here's just go through here. So these are like the original here prints. Here's next printing, some color. So I'm just kind of showing you the different looks of the book. And then, of course, the maps, which I at bay. So there it is. I plan to actually Dungeon Master this next Saturday, April 7th at 7 p.m. Central Time. I will take one of my groups of players to the Keep of the Borderlands. We'll see how much we go into it, but we will start at the keep itself, and then I will let the players an open sandbox, and we will see what it takes from there. We'll do at least a couple sessions, and see how my players enjoy it. Some of them have been in this 15 years ago or whatever, but they don't remember anything. And I twist things around enough so they probably have no clue that they even were in this at all. In fact, I'm pretty sure when I talked about it, they're like, "Oh, cool." I will also post below a link to Goodman Games website where you can pre-order the Into the Borderlands, and it will be released on May 15th. Please comment on the video, hit the like button if you like this. Hey, hit the subscribe button if you want to watch further episodes of the Keep of the Borderland. That way it just pops up. You know when it comes up. We are a small channel. We're trying to grow our viewership. On Wednesday nights at 7:30 Central Time on Twitch, we are playing Tales from the Young Portal. This Saturday night, I will be playing Storm King's Thunder. And we will then rotate Keep of the Borderlands every other Saturday. So with that, I'm going to sign out. Remember, it's cool to be a geek. Pass it on. Good night.